welcome back to another episode of the Beauty and Brains podcast. This is going to be a mini episode today. I actually have a very special guest on. It is Tina Bass with TB Brand Strategist. She is actually my brand strategist and the producer of this podcast. So she went from producer mode to guest all in the same day. And so I'm so happy to have you on the podcast, the Beauty and Brains podcast. It's just a conversation when we merge art, science, wellness, and just beauty. And so I want to talk to you a little bit today, and I want you to first introduce yourself to the people who are watching and listening.
I am Tina Bass. You probably saw me doing Zuri's events, Rose and Ray events. And then she needed a brand strategist. So here I am. Actually, Zuri is the one that said, Miss Tina, you need to start your own business as a brand strategist. So thank you.
You are welcome. And I'll talk a little bit about that and why and what I felt like I needed for my business.
Okay.
And so you all may feel like you need it too. But before we start, don't try to distract me. You're not going to get out of these questions. I have 3 questions. We're going to play a game. She's really trying to get out of it. And I got some questions that you have not seen. So, yeah.
Lord.
So, fact or fiction, just to remind the audience that this is a game of fact and fiction. So the questions are a bit of mix. Some of them are beauty, some of them are science, some of them are wellness, some of them are health questions. But this particular question, okay, fact or fiction, applying toothpaste to a pimple can make it go away faster. Is that fact or is that fiction?
Well, I do know that it's like an old wives' tale to apply it. I'm gonna say.
I know them old wives sometimes.
I'm gonna say fact.
That is fiction. Okay, so while toothpaste does contain drying agents, it can also irritate the skin and cause even more redness.
And you
I
know what?
I'll put a good toothpaste on a pimple.
But you know what? I should have said fiction. You know why?
Why?
Renisha.
Yeah, we talked about
Renisha told us
to
brush your teeth first before you wash your face.
Yes, because of the toothpaste. Because of what the toothpaste can do to your skin.
Renisha, I was listening, but I got the answer
wrong.
So
if you did not check out that episode, that was an episode that was about beauty and mental health. And she spoke about what toothpaste can do to your skin. That's right. Okay, so this is another one. Bobbiana. This one is about hair. I threw this one in there because you are like rocking the bob. Shout out to Emo Artistry, I believe.
Emo Artistry. Out of California, but I think she's coming back to Houston, so everybody line up.
And she does your hair regularly, so she's in Houston often.
Yes.
So she has got you with this bob, y'all. When I tell y'all, Miss Tina been moving that head ever since she got this bob, y'all. But the bob is cute. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so your hair grows faster when you trim it regularly. Is that fact or fiction? So your hair is going to grow faster if you trim it regularly.
Well, let me speak about my hair.
Okay.
When I get it trimmed, it does grow faster.
Okay.
But
do you think it's the trim itself that's making the hair grow fast?
I think the trim keeps you from having split ends, which causes your hair to become stagnant in growth.
Okay, so so you're on the right thinking. So this is actually fiction, okay? Hair growth happens at the scalp, not at the end.
Okay.
So the regular trim prevents the split ends, which we know is damaging to the hair, but it doesn't speed up hair growth out of the follicle.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, last one. Crying can actually release stress hormones from the body. Fact or fiction? Crying, releasing stress hormones. Fact or fiction?
I think that's a fact because
from personal experience.
My experience. I'm not a big crier, but I do notice if I have not cried in a year, I can feel it. And the moment that I cry.
Why are you not crying in a year? You sturdy. I'm crying like every other day.
I'm serious. But when I cry, if I cry about anything, whether I'm angry, whether I'm sad or happy, when I cry and get a good cry out, I'm good for another year.
So that one is true. So Miss Tina cries once a year. and she's good for a year in between cries. But this is a fact. So tears contain stress hormones, and crying has been shown to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, helping you to feel more relaxed after you cry. Okay, so y'all cry. Don't listen to her. Cry. If you need to cry, get you
I'm
a
not
good
trying
cry.
to prevent myself from crying. I'm just not a big crier.
Just not a big. So what do
It
you
takes
do?
a lot for
So
me
what
to
are you
cry.
doing when you get upset?
Well, I'll say this.
Let me not.
I tend to, when I was younger,
Y'all, Miss
believe
Tina
it or
don't
not,
play.
when I was younger, I was very passive. Very. As I age, 30s, when I hit my 30s, maybe 40s, I was like, I'm telling everybody how I feel that day. That day.
You're not even holding it to another day.
No, I don't.
They're going to find out that day.
Yeah, that day. Because I feel like that causes that puts more stress on your body for no reason at all. When you're stressed out, your hair falls out.
Chronic disease.
So no.
Age in you.
I'll let you know that day.
We're telling them that day.
You know, you hear me on the phone when I'm talking to my boo.
I hear it. I do.
It's okay. It's okay to express yourself every day.
Every day.
When I'm at work, I express myself.
You do. You definitely express yourself at work. That is true.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy to have you here in this conversation because as a brand strategist, one of the things I'll speak specifically about what you do for me. And one of the things that you do for me is to really just help me curate and think through all of my ideas. And when it's time.
And she has a lot of them.
And I have a lot. And a lot of times for me, I'm really all over the place, to be honest, a lot of times. And I need someone who's organized and with strategy to help me figure out what is the best way to execute, when is the best time to execute, what is the best way to relate these activities to one another in a way that makes sense. And that is just what you do in addition to the added benefit of being able to plan and execute on my events that I have. So I first met Miss Tina when she was called in as reinforcement to plan my conference. I called her in December for a major conference that was in March.
No, that wasn't the first.
Oh, it was my birthday.
Wait.
No,
this girl has so many events.
Let me go back. I don't know why I said, oh, that is totally not the first time. Oh my God, you planned my birthday. So my friend, I was looking for somebody to plan my birthday, and Dara, she was like, oh, no, Miss Tina can do it, Miss Tina. So Miss Tina is one of my good friend, Lay's mom. And so I called and Miss Tina executed my birthday beautifully. And then, I have had so many things since then. Every grand opening I've had, and then we got to the conference. That is so true. The first conference in 2022, but I believe we probably started working together in 2019 or 2020, somewhere in there.
Because it was like COVID. Birthday,
it was so it was some time, and so we are have definitely been working together for a while. And so you've seen my business through all of the stages, So I'm so excited to kind of engage in this conversation with you because part of what you do is look at different brands. You do a lot of market research, a lot of trying to figure out how to amplify brands and brand images. And one of the things that we have conversation about a lot is this concept of imitation versus innovation. And how do you balance imitation and innovation, especially in creative industries like ours, and how to maintain originality while still drawing inspiration from other people. And it is hard. I get that. It is hard, especially in this age of social media where when someone goes viral, it's just so quick to hit save and do the exact same thing, thinking that, oh, okay, well, if it went viral for them, it'll go viral for me. So our conversation today is going to be about how do you try to balance the two, especially in creative industries like the one that we are in. So I want to know from you, and this is actually going to be a conversation, so back and forth. So some of these questions Miss Tina will be asking me, but how do you personally define the difference between just imitation and just flat out innovation? And I'll even throw in being inspired by other people. How do you define the difference between those?
Well, speaking of social media and how we look at social media, we're scrolling, especially TikTok, right? We're in this world of someone comes up with a challenge, a dance challenge. That one dance challenge could trickle down to hundreds of thousands of people doing that same dance challenge, or millions of people, right? So in this industry, I see people doing the same thing. All they do is look on social media. If Zuri Dale is wearing this sage green outfit with her bust down and her watch and the way she's carrying her bag, that's what people see. So they go and they emulate the exact same things, right? But when you are trying to be innovative, based on inspiration from someone that you see, you can throw in your own things, right? You don't want to go and just be cookie cutter. You don't want it to be a cookie cutter type of situation. Add your own flair to it. Yes, if we, like we did PM Yukon was red, beautiful. I see a lot of people trying to emulate that, but they want to go A, B, C. You can't. Because you don't know what we talked about to plan that.
Yeah, you know what's so funny about that? Like, I was talking about this topic with my makeup artist. So shout out to Asia. I will make sure that I link her below. We were talking about this topic, and one thing that she said was, but you know what, Zuri? When you sign up to be an influencer, that's just what it is. Like, you are influencing
people, right.
But when it is a very niche industry, or when it is a very creative industry where we are expected to some degree generate our own ideas, then it may become a problem. And I feel like it's definitely a gray area, because there's this concept of, well, no one started anything, but then there's this, well, yeah, someone did.
Right.
Someone started it somewhere, right? And as creatives, because I think we're beyond just brow artists or makeup artists or hairstylists. As creatives, part of our jobs are to create, right?
Exactly.
Part of our jobs are to create. And with social media and people having such access to information, I think that in a lot of ways, and not just for other people, perhaps even for myself, it prevents you from even thinking for yourself, because
Right.
why do I need to think?
Because it's right
Someone
here.
else has already done the thinking for me. And in some ways, it keeps you playing small, even in your own business, because you are not even challenging yourself to think, oh, wait, that person had that. I liked it. Check.
Yeah.
Let me Google it and let me figure out where they got that from. And I want to execute the exact same thing in the exact same way, in the exact same. Because if it worked for them, why do I need to change it? Right. And we're in such a creative industry. I'm just seeing it so much more. What are your thoughts?
My thought to that is, I don't care how much you can go and look at this particular person's social media platform, right? And say, for instance, event planning. It's so many great event planners in Houston. So many. Cashmere Productions, beautiful work. But you're not in his brain. You do
Right.
not know what he's thinking.
And you can't see it the
Right,
way
you
that
cannot
he
see
sees
the way he
it.
sees,
You may
right.
be seeing the same thing,
Right.
but you don't see it the way that he sees it.
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of imitation results in failed attempts. Because you may be looking, but you don't see it the way that the other person sees it. So it's really just best to...
And you can't execute it the way that person can either, because I think about PMU, right? I know that there are other people that do conferences, but when you step into a PMU conference, and I'm not being biased, but I'm just being real. When you step into PMU conference, the vibe is different. I've been to a few, the vibe is different. It's totally different. I don't care if you did the exact same decor, if you got the exact same vendors, the vibe is different. It's what the conference is itself. It's always what you say. And I think about you every time I hear someone say it. It's not...
It's not on you. It's in you.
It's not on you, it's in you. So no matter what you do to imitate someone else's work, you cannot execute it the way that they execute it.
And you know what is so funny? That's why I when I start to see myself drawing too much inspiration from other people, and I say this all the time, because we are human, like we cannot unlearn or unsee things that we see. We can't unlike something that we saw that somebody else do. But what we can do is control what we see.
So
because I always say, like, what you see with the eye seeps to the soul. And so sometimes when I find myself wanting to emulate, to imitate, I will unfollow.
Right.
It is because I admire you so much. Not that I don't admire you, but I actually admire you so much that even looking at what you are doing are creating like limiting beliefs in me.
Exactly.
And I need to step away from you so that I can make sure that I am putting forth a product that is Zuri's signature style, that is something that has Zuri's unique voice, especially in the industry where a lot of us are doing the same thing. But I get it, right? Like, if we see someone else go viral for something, we want to go viral too.
Right.
And it's like, it worked for them. Like, allow me, I can make it work, you know, for me too. I can do the exact same thing. So I definitely understand that.
But I'm also just a big believer in what's for you is for you. If it is your time to go viral, you will go viral.
Right.
You know how when we see people go viral and it's like,
for the most random things.
Like the most random minor things.
Like y'all like swatting flies going viral. And it's like, here I am over here with this whole production with Sacred Stone. Shout out to Sacred Stone. But I got this whole production over here and I'm going to be like, why am I not viral?
Right.
Everybody else is viral.
Well, because some people, they are, and this is me going on the branding side, right? So you have a lot of people going viral for very negative things, right? There's one girl, I gotta go back to her page and look. I get a lot of tips from her. I love her, the way how she tries to teach you about social media and how you attract people to your page. And sometimes being negative, the first thing she said, when you open up your phone or your camera, the first thing that you should say is something kind of controversial.
Right, for that first 3 seconds.
Right, because it brings people to your page. Because, you know, people like mess. Right? People love mess. People love negativity. Unfortunately, that's just the world that we live in. And so a lot of people go viral for those things, and they do a lot of a lot of things that I would not stand behind on social media, right?
Right.
So, and I tell you all the time, these are things, this is the way you should look when you do certain things. And given the fact that you're a professional woman, I already know that you know what you need to do and what you should not be doing.
Y'all, when I go out, she's calling me like, Zuri Dale, I bet not see. I bet not see. And I'm like, oh my God. But no, I get it. I get it.
Because one day, Zuri is going to be...
where am I going to be?
At the White House.
At the White House. Not this one.
Not this one. Not this one.
Wait. Yeah. But one. We don't know what the Lord has in the cards for me, but I will be in a White House. Now, okay, along the lines of like originality, as like a creator and as a person who helps brands develop their signature voice and style, we value originality, we value creativity. But I am starting to think that our audiences don't care. And in some ways, it's like, okay, well, what is there to encourage a creator to seek their original style if our audiences don't value originality as much as we do, right? I feel like our audiences also make it easy to just do what somebody else is doing. Because I'm like seeing, you all see on Instagram where it'll be a dance challenge. People will create a carousel with 20 people doing the same thing. I'm like, over and so over wait, you enjoyed all 20 people doing the same, doing the same thing? So like, how do we still, where's the will, right? Like, how do we still be encouraged to be original in a world where social media has made mimicking be almost like a positive thing? And I think I'm saying mimicking, it makes it sound so much more negative, but I have to just continue to say that we operate in a creator space. And that's the idea of being a creator. Like, I get joy from sitting down and just word vomiting all of my ideas and stringing this and stringing this and stringing this. Like, I get joy from thinking up new ways to execute on the same thing. I get joy watching somebody do something and say, you know what? I could probably do something like that and maybe utilize that framework, but change it in a way that makes it my signature. But the audience just doesn't seem to value that. How do we still be encouraged to do it?
I think that in that situation, speaking of you, I think that people are going to like who you are, no matter if you're mimicking someone or if you're drawing inspiration from someone, right? I think it's the person that's behind the camera. Like, you have some people that are just absolutely
Wow.
beautiful.
So it's just,
they're
yeah.
this, they're that, but it's just some things that you just don't like about them. And I have to go to Whitney Dale with this one because Whitney is so funny. It's certain people, I won't say these influencers' name, but it's one particular influencer that she does not like.
Oh, Lord.
And when you look at her page is absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful. It is.
She dresses down.
She does.
Her wigs are this, but then Whitney has kind of influenced me in a way because I used to like that girl a lot, but now when I hear her voice on certain things, I'm like, okay. I was just looking at her yesterday and I said, clothes, beautiful. Home, beautiful. Husband, nice looking. Everything is great. But when she speaks, it is kind of annoying. So it's certain things that people are going to like about you and certain things that people are not going to like, right? So people may look at you and say, oh, God, here she come again.
Oh, I know.
She always got something going on. She's this, she's that, she blah, blah. Because you always got something going
I'm
on.
all of that.
Yeah, but that's who you are.
Right, that's true.
That is the way your brain operates. Like,
yeah. I think it's kind of goes back to what I said before. Like, we just have to do it. Like, when you
just do
sign up to be an influencer, you have to understand that your job is to influence.
Right.
But for me, it gets frustrating because there's always this sense of having to do something new and do something different, especially when you're in a niche industry like the one that I am in. Like, I feel like permanent makeup is very niche. And a lot of artists do a lot of the same things because they get the most engagement. You know, this is not like, I would even say not even like doing hair. It's many more hair artists, I feel like, or lash artists than there exists permanent makeup artists. And so I feel like there's even more pressure to be original because I am always trying to convince a person, a client, a student, a conference attendee why they should participate in this, event, or why they should book with me, or why they should take my training when there are a number of other wonderful opportunities out there. So I feel like in our industry, it's even more important.
I think in your case, you are, for lack of I don't want to say it in a negative way, right? But you're in a league of your own when it comes to brows. I want to say Kimmy called you the black unicorn, or somebody called you a black unicorn, right? So because you are able to teach other brow artists things that they really don't know, right? They may have the cosmetic part of it down, right? They took the class.
Yeah, there are a number of wonderful brow artists like in practice for sure.
Right. So, but they don't know like the science behind it. So that's what sets you apart. I doubt if there are that many. Are there any more?
So there actually is one artist who I feel like has a training class that has the breadth and depth of knowledge as mine, and that is Sculpted Studios. Carla, she is someone who I really and truly admire. But the art and science of permanent makeup, that's one of those like niche, like signature voice types of things that I've tried to do to differentiate myself in an industry where so many people are doing the same thing. There are a lot of talented brow artists. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge like the number of artists of color who do excellent work. Like, sometimes I'm scrolling, I'm like, ooh, girl, that's good. Like Blissful Blinks, Butter Brow. Like, there are a number of artists who just do a lot of great work that even I'm inspired by. But I feel like with social media, we have to be more than just an artist, right?
Right.
We are creatives. Our job is to also create. And we're constantly trying to figure out how to get our creations and our creativity in front of other people. And it's just hard, with social media where all we have to do is press save and put it in our content to do folder and come back. And now you see somebody who was doing what took you. We've been shooting today for 12 hours. What took you 12 hours to do, somebody comes and they go viral in like 2 minutes. Like, it is very frustrating, but that is just the world.
That's the world that we live in. And my thing is, you have someone that'll sit in a closet and film something and it's all over the world, right? But you like to do things a certain way. I like that you like to do things a certain way. That is a part of your brand. That is who you are. You take pride in your brand. You take pride in Zuri. Because you have to realize that not only is Artistry by Zuri a brand, but Zuri is a brand as well. So everything that you do, whether it's PM Yukon, whether it's your brow salon, whether it's your LTK link or your Amazon link, it is a part of your brand. So don't change your brand for anyone else. Continue to do what you think fits within your in your box, right? Make that work. Because I'm telling you, Zuri, it is going to. I mean, because you already have you already have a good following. I feel like
I'm definitely trying to cross over into another space. Like, I want to exist in a space that allows me to create and influence, like, on a greater level.
But you will, because you really, if you think about it, you really just started this whole influence thing. Like, you just started this.
Yeah. 5 minutes ago. You're right.
Yeah. It's not like you.
Thought I'd be further along.
It's not like you. It's not like you've been doing this for years. No, you haven't been doing it for years. You've been doing brows for years.
Right.
And look where you took brows.
Right. And you know what? And I think that that's like an excellent point, because it's like, it started out as the brows, but I'm like, okay, everybody does brows. Like, what is going to differentiate you from somebody else who does brows? It's like, okay, well, we'll do beauty and brain. So the podcast became a thing. The Institute of Art and Science, that became a thing. The Artistry and Science blog, that became a thing. PM Yukon and the Healed Work, like, that became a thing. All to be a part of this thing that we call a brand, to set you out from just the set you apart from just the next permanent makeup artist who also does talented work.
So when you get a deal from a makeup company, when you get a deal from a pharmaceutical company, when you get a deal from like your influence in your clothing, LTKs, when you start getting deals like that, it's all encompassing the same thing. It's all under the same umbrella. Zuri, the Zuri Dale brand.
Yeah, and I'm working, and it's a struggle. It's frustrating, but we're just gonna keep at it. Like, to all the creators out there who are struggling and trying every day to create, just keep creating. Just keep creating. People are going to come. They may or may not do things the exact same thing you do in the exact same way, and you may not get credit for them drawing inspiration from you, and that is okay. Like my friend Asia said, I guess, like, we signed up to be
You signed up for
influencers. I definitely think there's an ethical consideration, though, right? I think that we have an ethical responsibility to be truthful with our work. I think we have an ethical responsibility to put forth work that is original. But I recognize that with social media that we just don't always operate under that same standard. And that's okay. Keep creating, keep doing, keep drawing inspiration from other people. Really think about, when is it time to rely on an existing framework versus when is it time to, like, reinvent the wheel, and just keep creating. Like, we are so much more than service providers, right? So just keep going, keep going, keep going.
When you become stagnant, when you think that everything is always the same, whenever you get in front of the camera and it's the same, that's when you need to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
That's when you need to just throw in something else. That's when you need to change something. That's when you just need to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, what is it that I can do to stand out more? Because now everybody sees me and know me here, but now I feel like I'm kind of stagnant, right? Like
Right.
nothing is really going on. I still look the same. My growth on my social media page hasn't really shot up that much. And sometimes that doesn't even matter. If people like you, they like you. But that's when you need to reinvent the wheel, but not completely. Stay within your brand.
Stay within your brand, guys.
Stay within
and
your
I
brand
think that that's
guidelines.
what we see. Like right now, I feel like people, and I think honestly, I'm so happy you said that, because I think that is really where it becomes an issue. I think that social media has become made everything be such a microwave that I see this person doing this and this person and this person and this person. So now I'm scrambling.
Right.
I'm doing everything that I see every single person doing. And now it's like you look up and you're not even yourself anymore. You're a combination of so many other people. And that is why when you find yourself being too inspired to the point that it's turning into idolizing, it's okay for you to be inspired from a distance.
Right.
Mute,
you have to unplug from that person.
unfollow,
Right.
unplug,
Right.
because now I'm just becoming a completely different version of myself completely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
this
you for having me
conversation.
on the chair.
You really, really have helped to grow my brand in the last several years. Everything that you all see is truly a thought partnership between myself and Miss Tina, between the podcast, between PM Con. I mean, everything that you all see is definitely a true partnership, and it is our brainchild for sure.
A lot of late night calls.
Late night calls. A lot of late night calls.
Hello, Miss Tina. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what happened today. What you think about this?
It's a lot of
calls.
A lot of text messages, a lot of like, can we do this? Can we do this? And can we do this? And the newest embodiment of that is Sensationless. We have a lot of good things coming up with Sensationless, and you're a part of those projects as well. So if you were looking for somebody to help take your brand to the next level, I'm not talking about marketing. I'm not talking about showing you how to post on social media. I'm not talking about somebody to make your graphics. I'm talking about someone who can really help you strategize, someone who can help you truly build a brand, and not only help you build the brand, but help you to execute on that vision. Miss Tina is a person for you. I will make sure I drop her information in the comments. So thank you all so much for attending this very mini episode of the Beauty and Brains podcast. It was so good to talk to you in this setting. We talk all the time, but to talk to you in this setting. Once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening to the Beauty and Brains podcast. It is produced by Tina Bass, TB the Brand Strategist, and all audiovisual Sacred Stone Media. And you can find them at Sacred Stone Media on Instagram, and I will drop them in the comments below.